We are joined live now by former executive for Atlantic Records, Dorothy Carvello, and civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump, who is representing Carvello in this case. We thank you both for joining Top Story tonight. So, Dorothy, I want to start with you. You have this dream job in the industry. You yourself are a trailblazer. You literally are living that rock star life, being on the forefront of the music industry at a time when there were no other women. And yet you are suffering, according to your accusations, day in, day out, psychologically, physically. What was that like?
It was horrible. Like you said, I was trying to live the American dream. I went to college. This was my first job in a company with great benefits, health insurance, everything you could ask for. And it just turned into a nightmare for me.
And did you feel you couldn't complain, or you couldn't? You had nowhere to go, one, because of the time, and two, because you loved the job so much?
I did complain, and I followed the structure of HR at Time Warner at the time, and it didn't matter. You had no power as a woman at all from these industry titans. They have all the power, the money, and what did I have? When I did complain, I was tossed out like garbage.
Some people are going to say this was the era of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was a rowdy industry to begin with. And some people may be saying, and I hate to ask this question, but I sort of have to, some people may be saying to themselves, this happened decades ago, right? Why are you still fighting for this? And I have to think you're still fighting because you want justice.
Correct. I want justice for myself and every other woman that was tossed out like garbage, including female artists that were abused horribly. And this was a publicly traded company with a board of directors where hundreds of millions of dollars was made and is still being made. And this business has been untouched in terms of Me Too or any other type of civil rights injustices.
What did other people do? Because, I mean, some of the allegations that you state both in your book and in this lawsuit, I mean, they are shocking. And we heard a lot of stuff during the Me Too movement, but some of your stuff is just shocking. In the middle of meetings, male executives essentially touching themselves while they were trying to conduct business and touching you at the same time.
Well, I can't comment directly on allegations in the lawsuit, but that's for the court. But the truth will be told. Witnesses are still around. So it's not that long ago, and it affected my life personally so much that I wrote a book about it and was able to publish a book about this and clear legal. So what does that tell you?
I don't want to ask you about the book because it was pre-Me Too movement when the book was published. But I'm going to ask you, the laws have changed, but people are going to say these alleged crimes happened decades ago. How hard is it going to be to win this case?
Well, we think the truth will prevail, Tom. The fact that Dorothy knows where all the skeletons are buried, and that's important. She's a trailblazer because hopefully it's going to set a precedent for other women who have been suffering in silence for decades. Attorney Andrews and I say, Warner, release them from the NDAs. If you're not afraid of the truth, let these women be heard finally.
Yeah, Dorothy, in your book, you wrote that you were still friends with some of the men that abused you. Is that a fair characterization? And if so, explain to me sort of the process. Was it just something that happens when you're a victim, or was it just something that you had to do?
Well, in order to work in the music business, it's controlled by only a few people. And I wanted to work in the music business.
You essentially couldn't burn bridges.
Well, it isn't a question of burning bridges. They just throw you out, and I was able to, eke out a small career, not where I should have been in
because
terms of everything that I've done.
Exactly. They were blacklisted.
Talk to me about that, Ben.
It's like any industry. If you are down here and you're a whistleblower, they can blackball you, and nobody else in the industry will have anything to do with you. And when you read her book, you see instances of that, Tom. And that's why we have to be unapologetic in our opposition to oppression in any fashion or form or any manner. I am so troubled by the fact that, with Harvey Weinstein, they were able to get those women's voices heard. But in the music industry, they haven't had to face the music at all.
will you have to go back and jog people's memories from decades ago? I mean, how difficult is that going to be?
Well, you know, you're going to see in her lawsuit, she actually filed the complaint in writing. And so it's not hard, you know, talking to my co-counsels Ann Andrews and David Moulton, to be able to say she filed a complaint and what was the response. And if they had a response, we will see it. But the response was, what did he say? You're a woman. It doesn't matter what you say.
There was a time when one of the men you're accusing, and we should say that the people you've accused are denying the allegations, but there was a time when Ahmet Ertegun was one of the biggest, if not the biggest names in the music industry. He's currently in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Do you think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should revisit his induction, and should they take it away?
100%. But, of course, nobody talks about any of this because it's not gotten the attention that other industries have in terms of Me Too. But all the people that made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and are on the board were all close friends of Ahmet Ertegun. So it's a, you know, it's a club.
Dorothy, talking to you, I got to say, and Ben, maybe you help her out with this, but it doesn't sound like you have a lot of faith in the system. I mean, you've suffered so much, it sounds like you don't have faith in the system.
Well, I do have faith in the fact that I've been trying for years, standing up by myself, and now with Ben Crump, I'm hoping to bring, you know, have women feel that they have someone advocating for them. The business has not addressed any Me Too issues as a whole, and it's still being run by the same people.
And Tom, we have to keep building coalitions for our daughters to come in the future. It's one thing to have Dorothy standing there by herself, but then to have Gretchen Carlson, who was heroic in her challenging sexual harassment at Fox News, and then have other women like Julie Raskinsky coming to stand with her, because that is the only way we can give these women their voices. If we all stand up and say women's rights are human rights.
Yes.
Ben Crump, Dorothy, we thank you for your time. And Dorothy, I appreciate you coming out here. I know it's not easy to talk about these things.
No,
to sort of
it's
relive
fine,
them.
and I look forward to the trial for justice to be done and the truth to be told. It'll all be laid out at trial.
Again, we appreciate your time, and we will stay on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.